Hey everybody, this is Cherokee Edwards from Cherokee Edwards Inspires, where we're going to have shows here to talk about life, to talk about what makes your life special, what makes it better, and everybody working together, because together everyone achieves more. Acronym for the word team. Stay tuned and let's get it on. Hey everybody, what's going on? It's your boy Cherokee coming to you on another edition to the Cherokee Edwards Inspires. And tonight, the word is focus. Focus. It's a beautiful word. And it's an important word because focus puts you in the zone. It's putting yourself in the zone where if you're focused enough, the saying is, I never lose. I either win or I learn, but I never lose because I'm not going to give up. The focus is a laser-like, prism where you get just set on something that you want to have, and you're not going to stop until you get it. So let's talk about situations that focus is paramount and was, relevant. Back in the 90s, I started thinking to myself, man, there's got to be something better to just a normal 9 to 5 working and, just getting by. So the focus became extremely evident when I knew that I wasn't going to be, playing for, the football team or get drafted, get selected. I was like, you know what? I got to really put all my attention into the workforce. But I also knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to be my own business owner. So when I started working for companies, I literally started focusing on how is the business run? What's the most important element of the business? How do you select teams? How do you work together for the common goal? The military was the best teacher that I've ever had, other than playing football on the teams that I played for, but being a teammate. But it was never as prevalent as it was in the military, because if you're not working together in the military, you could actually lose your life or cause someone else to lose theirs. So focus and attention to detail is paramount. You had to have it. So tonight I want to talk about focus. Once, we talk about writing things down, things that you want. Write down what would it cost? What is the cost associated with starting your business or becoming better at the business that you're a part of? If you're an employee, how do you become the employee of the year? Well, the first thing you need to become is the employee of the day. And then you become the employee of the week. And then the employee of the month, employee of the quarter. And then, of course, employee of the year can fall in behind that. So these are things that I think that are so important, because it's not just about being a company person. It's about learning something while you're going through it, through the experience of your own experiences, but also the experience of others. And if you find somebody that is very seasoned in a business that you're a part of, and they're willing to share their knowledge or pearls of wisdom with you, don't talk so much. Just listen. You have one mouth and 2 ears. There's a reason for that. You should listen twice as much as you speak. Because if you listen to what people are telling you, you find out one of two things. Either you find out a way that it may not work, and then you find out the steps that it will work. And even if you have to try and fail again, if you don't quit, if you don't give up, you have to win. Because either you win or you learn, but you never ever lose. You just don't quit. Keep pounding the rock. We used to say that, coaches used to say that all the time to us when we were playing ball. Keep pounding the rock. At some point, the rock will break. So I started my hand in every single type of business I could think of anyway, from selling at Circuit City, electronics and audio, video and audio, to, selling Kirby vacuum cleaners, to, everything you could think of. And then, of course, end up being that I ended up working in the timeshare industry where I was selling the timeshares. Now, the timeshares, to be honest with you, everyone, selling timeshares was the most fun I ever had selling. It was the best thing that I ever sold, because it was about looking at the joy, looking at people. It wasn't just about the money. The money was nice, but it wasn't the money. It was watching people's eyes light up when they saw the condos for the first time, when their kids saw the pools and everybody was running around. Oh my God, I want this. I want this, Daddy. Please give it to me. Mommy, please give it to me. And then you see a husband and wife team, or a boyfriend and girlfriend, and you can tell that they're looking at each other like, you know what? We work really hard. We deserve this. Well, guess what? Once again, the focus is on how do you take care of the family. A lot of people think that commission sales is just about a trick, about a sales pitch. Keep doing the elevator pitch until it hits home. Well, the thing that I learned about commission sales, and what I love about it, is it allows you to build a true relationship with your prospective clients, because you could actually turn your clients into family. And that's what I did. I still to this day call a lot of my members family instead of clients and owners. We've actually gone on cruises together, through my company, the SeaTac Vacations. There was over 50 of us that went on a cruise some years ago. And we talk about doing it again. I know the pandemic is really stopping things. It's throwing a wrench in, because we were supposed to be doing it this year. And God willing, we'll be able to do that. But that focus, it's not about you, them, and the money. And a lot of times commission trainers like to teach the reps that it is about you versus them. But it's really not. Because, okay, in the resort world, when people come down, they're already wanting a vacation. They're already in a mindset that they want a vacation. Now, they're not in a mindset they want to buy a timeshare. That's not normal. Usually it's they came for a free gift and they're going to give you 90 minutes of their time. You got to earn the rest of it. And people will tell you that 90-minute presentation generally turns into an all-day affair. Now, sometimes it's the rep's fault. Sometimes it's the family that's asking a lot of questions and the time keeps going. And sometimes you just build such a strong, powerful relationship that the time flies and you just enjoy the people. I've actually gone to dinner with my families. I've gone back to the condos. I've met them the next day for breakfast. I mean, we just really, really hit it off. Now, there are some families that you can't wait to turn them loose. Just as they feel like, oh, I can't wait to get out of here. Well, sometimes the reps feel like, I can't wait for you to get out of here either. We never really talk about that because people always say the customer's always right. It's not the case, but that is what's usually said. But when you focus on what you want, the bow will soon break. You'll get good enough, especially if you do it the right way. Because what I've learned in my career, my 21 years of doing this, is that you may not sell on paper or contract everybody that sits in front of you, but you can sell yourself to everybody that sits in front of you. Because what happens is, just because they don't go on contract doesn't mean they weren't sold on what you were, presenting. If you're presenting an incredible amount of service, if you're presenting the fact that you want to build a career around them, if they're buying something, they can't help but say, man, that would be cool. If we could buy this, we definitely want to buy from you. Now, that doesn't mean they can all afford that either, But if your focus is strong enough, you're going to become successful because you're going to see 3 to 5 people a day. And let's say you're a 10% closer, right? If you see 4 people, right, you should end up with at least 1 deal. Think about it. For every, 10 tours, you should have a sale. Now, that's because you're going to run across families who just can't afford it. You're going to run across families who just got a job recently. They don't vacation like this, or they don't see the value in it. And then you're going to see families that see the value in it and they just can't afford it flat out. But when you run across that family that can afford it and they would use it, then your relationship skills will come in, and that should be a deal. Even though it's a today sale and a lot of people think, oh my God, it's such a high pressure industry. It's only a high pressure industry if you make it that way. I'll be back to tell you a little bit more about this focus and how it can work for you and benefit you. We'll be back in a minute after station identification from Anchor.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Okay, guys, well, we're back. And we were talking about this focus. And a lot of times, like I said, there's nothing better to talk about focus than commission sales, because commission sales means you either sell something or you got a zero paycheck. You don't get paid. That's what usually encourages or increases pressure. And you know the saying, pressure busts pipes. Well, that's the bad terminology for it. And I always say that pressure comes when somebody sees a value in something too. In case in point, you get a family that comes to see your product, and of course you want to sell it today. The family's saying, well, you know what? I don't buy anything the first day I see it. I'm not that kind of person. And you have to understand the word empathy, not sympathy, but empathy. I understand, Mr. Johnson. I can understand that you don't buy anything the first time you see it. Well, let me ask you a question. If you see something and you know for sure without a shadow of a doubt that you like it, you would use it if you had it, you would enjoy it, and you could afford it, what would stop you, and what would actually be the decision? You see, that was just a question. And if you think about it, the question is, it's called a box in question, because what you've done is taken information that the individual gave you and you box them into their own, you allow them to box themselves in. Now, it's not a bad thing, because a lot of times this is what helps people get out of their own way. If you're married out there, think about when you first met your significant other, your spouse. At one point it was, hey, I'd like to take you out for dinner. Guys, you know how we do. Well, hey, would you like to go to dinner and a movie? Usually that's going to be the first date that we're going to take. Now, ladies, when you see us, if you already are somewhat attracted to us and you feel some type of energy and chemistry, then your answer is, oh, sure, I'd love to go out. Now, the awkward part is over. You exchange phone numbers. And now it's about setting up that date, right? But listen to this for a moment. The first day you met that person, you got their phone number 9 times out of 10. The next time you call them, you set a date to go to dinner or to a movie, or dinner and a movie now, right? It's no different. It's the same thing. When you see someone, when I met my wife, she was with her best friend, and I walked up to both ladies and I introduced myself. Now, I would never disrespect the friend when I'm after my wife. But if either one of us was those types that couldn't make a decision the day we saw each other, we wouldn't be together today. And a lot of you wouldn't be together with your spouses either. Think about this. When you go shopping, and you say, you know what? My daughter needs new shoes. You go to the mall, you go to the store, and you see some shoes. Well, you're looking at the shoes, but a lot of times you may end up buying a dress, socks, and you don't look at the shoes. If there's a pair of shoes that, you weren't intending to get them, but they're on clearance, meaning they're getting ready to go out of stock. But you love those shoes. You ask the helper, the assistant salesperson, that's assisting you, do you guys expect anything like this in? And he said, no, we're just making room for the next line of shoes that coming out. But this is it, and there's only one pair left. How long do you need to decide if that's what you want to do? You want to go ahead and buy those shoes. I remember telling this to somebody, and they said, well, buying a pair of shoes for $60, $70, $80 or whatever, and buying a timeshare for, $20,000, $30,000 or more is two big, entirely different things. And not to turn this into a sales training, but I do want to say what my answer to that was. When they said that, I said, okay, in respect to somebody just shopping for shoes, you're correct. But if somebody's in front of you at a resort presentation, if you're smart enough and you remember to ask them questions like, do you vacation every year? Is it important to you? And if so, how many vacations do you take a year? How many nights of vacation you take a year? And what do you spend on those vacations in just lodging? Forget about food and everything else, just in lodging. See, these are questions that lead to the sale. These are third level questions, because once they start answering these questions, you are now given a roadmap to the sale. Because if somebody says, well, I spend $100, $150 a night for a hotel, you now have a budget for what they'll spend. You know that if they take 2 weeks of vacation a year and they spend $100 a night, they're spending $1,400 for the year. Now, the average maintenance fee on a timeshare is about $1,000 a year. So you've saved the money. Now you say, well, not really, because they spent $20,000 for the timeshare. Once again, you have to have deeper thought, and you have to know how to ask questions skillfully and listen very carefully. Again, I say, ask questions skillfully, listen very carefully. The first thing you have to do is get the vacation commitment, and then you give yourself the ability to ask, how many vacations have you taken since meeting each other? Now, let's just say they say, well, we've got married 10 years ago. We take at least the 2 vacations, 2 weeks per year for the last 10 years. Now, the next obvious question is, do you see yourself taking at least 2 vacations for the next 10, 20 years? Depending on age, they're going to say yes. Most likely, who wants to say they're going to work and they're never going to go on vacation? So, and I'm only using this as an example to talk about this focus. So your focus has to be on the family. It cannot be on your sale. Your sale will take care of itself if you're focused on the family. Because the moment they tell you, well, we spend, $1,400 a year, and we've done it for the last 10 years, so that's $14,000, give or take, right? So, with inflation, they're not going to spend less. They're probably going to spend more, but let's just say it stays the same. Another $14,000 over the next 10 years at the same pace. That's now $28,000. If they do it again, that's another what? 14,000. So yeah, you're talking about $42,000. And when you sit here and say you can show somebody how they'll spend this money anyway, and you can save them this money, once again, it goes back to, if you're already committed to taking 2 weeks of vacation a year for the next 20 years at even $1,400, and we know it can go up and go down, but let's just say the average is $700 per week and you're taking 2 weeks. So now all of a sudden that $1,400 $100 quickly became $14,000 over the 10 years doing it, right? And then over the next 10 years, you add another 14, which is 28,000. And then you add another 14,000. Now, I mean, you can see where this is going. You can see where this is going. You know? So this, I mean, but you know, when you show them that and you say, if you're going to spend the money anyway, where would you rather stay? Hotel or resort? And let them answer. Don't try to answer for them. Let them answer. Guys, that's what I'm talking about focus. Once you know that works and it's worked over and over and over again, don't change what you do. That's the key. Don't change what you do. And that's why I said earlier, you either win or you learn, but you never lose. So that's the key, guys. And I'm going to keep this to about roughly 20 minutes on this one. I just wanted to go over it because people have asked me to talk about how I focus and how I got it. So I love you guys. God bless. Keep your hands clean, and I'll see you soon. Hey, keep that focus on. Cherokee out.